Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Woo! Okay. So, yes, I had to break out this little guy right here because last night I saw Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. What if this is one of the Spider-Man from that movie? Okay, for those of you who don't remember, I actually won this out of the claw machine at the Sweats. As in, by one, I mean, everyone at the Sweats was so cool about how I was writing so many nice posts about them that they gave me this. But it was in the claw machine, so. Hey, come on, man. It's Spider-Man! Woo! Oh, I'm gonna hold on. Hopefully I can make this the thumbnail. Spider-Man. Okay, so last night let's get to my low, my high, my active kindness. I guess my low is I got so busy with everything I was doing yesterday that I never really got to see my mom because she was watching my nephews. But last night I got up. My highs are I got up for dinner and I saw Across the Spider-Verse. And my active kindness was I had to do some stuff for my grandma. Well, I tried doing some stuff for my grandma yesterday. She wanted me to get something over at the grocery store, but it wasn't there, so maybe it'll be there today, so I'm going to do that. So, good morning, happy hump to everyone, and I saw Across the Spider-Verse. Now, here's the thing. This really is the kind of movie where I'm not really going to be able to talk about without going into some major spoilers. So, here's how I'm going to break this down. First, I'm going to tell you about the stuff that I feel comfortable talking about with you all. Stuff that's not spoiler heavy. And then, I'll talk about what happens in the movie, afterwards. And I'm going to pay attention to the clock that's going on the timer of the camera. So, you'll know when, okay, if I want, but you get the idea. So, for starters, the cast of this movie is phenomenal. Any and all of the returning voiceover actors for this, really celebrities, but come on, at this point, this is their second movie voicing. They become voiceover actors, especially when a movie like this is that good. The biggest standout for me is Haley Steinfeld as Gwen. She was really good. Everyone else in this movie was phenomenal, of course. I'm sorry, I forget the actress who plays Miles. Actor who voices Miles. I'm sorry, but it is very clear that guy is Miles Morales. He is, in his own right, Spider-Man. And trust me, that becomes key later in what I'm about to tell you. The second thing I can talk about is the animation. The animation in this movie is phenomenal. Oh my God. Yes, this is an action movie, but really this movie is an action comedy. And the movie fully takes advantage of that. So you get a lot of really fun, fast-paced, quick, hilarious fight scenes. And it's wonderful. It's some of the best fight choreography I've ever seen in animation. Right up there with the Kung Fu Panda movies and some of the best things I've ever seen in One Piece. So, yeah. Animation, top notch. And, I just talked about the comedy. The comedy is also very good. I mean, yeah, it's action comedy, so yeah, of course the comedy's going to be really good. The only other thing I can talk about before I get into spoilers, and this is the funniest thing that happened, by the way. Not in the movie, oh no. In fact, when this happened, it was a very serious moment in the movie. But some guy in the audience I'm just gonna say it. Some guy in the audience just straight up ripped ass in this movie. We could all hear it. This was the most serious part of the movie. And we heard it. I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. Oh, gosh. That was, like, to be perfectly honest, I laughed a whole lot before recording, so I got all the laughs on me, so I'm not going to laugh as hard here. But trust me, it was hands down the funniest thing happened in the movie. So, okay, so now I am about to go into spoilers. If, for any reason, you have any desire to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, then you will want to stop the video when I start talking about spoilers, okay? So, remember, this is major spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, I'm trying to give you some time to really think over, like, do you want to watch this? Like, listen, if you're watching this, you want to see what I thought about the movie, then absolutely. I thought the movie was great. Of course I thought the movie was great. Are you kidding me? I mean, the first Into the Spider-Verse movie actually has a big place in my heart because the night I saw Into the Spider-Verse, the first one, was the night before I first talked about my contemplations of suicide, way back in 2018. So of course I really wanted to see this movie. Of course I was excited to see this movie. And I'm excited to talk about this movie right now because if you really want to know just my rawest, most blunt answer of whether I like the movie or whether the movie was good, I love this movie. I thought the movie was phenomenal. It already garners enough of a recommendation for me. Go see this movie. Now, I will get into spoilers right about now, 7:30, okay? So it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. I will be starting spoilers right now. Okay, so. You know how in the promotional material for this movie originally, you had Across the Spider-Verse Part 1? Yeah, this movie's actually a two-parter. And the reason why I think they took the Part 1 off of the marquee had to do with marketing. I mean, listen, only two movies that I've ever seen have ever legitimately gotten away with having Part 1 in the title and being good. Or for some people, at least watchable. That's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Mockingjay Part 1. Like, those are the only two. And I think the reason why they took off Part 1 is because if they saw the Part 1, they were immediately just going to be, like, audiences and critics were immediately going to be taken aback by that and not give it the 96% it has on Rotten Tomatoes at this moment. I think it does. It's like high 90s. Like, if it's not like a 90, I know it's higher than 95. I know that. So, somewhere between 96 and 98, I think is where it is. So, there you go. So, the movie starts off, believe it or not, with Gwen's backstory. Specifically how the death of her best friend, the Peter Parker of her universe, was murdered. Or not murdered, but he died. However, it's because, like, that Peter Parker got, like, bullied a lot, so he tries to take, like, a serum, he becomes, like, a giant lizard. Not the lizard, but, like, a giant lizard monster. Again, not the lizard that you're thinking of, but just, like, a giant, generic lizard monster, okay? Spider-Woman, or Gwen, like, stops him, but in the process, Peter Parker dies, and so she is wanted for murder. And her father is Captain George Stacy, the head of the police in New York City, in her universe. So, yeah, that gets complicated. So he finds out who she is. He's literally reading her like, really? This is your daughter and you're going to read your own daughter the Miranda rights? Dude. Well, if credit's due, he loves his job, I'll give him that. So when that happens, Miguel, the head spider of like the elite spider people in the universe where he's at, like recruits her because she's got nowhere to go. And there's another Spider Woman who rides a motorcycle. She's really good in the movie too. I forget who she's voiced by, but she's really good too. And then we cut to Miles' universe where it's been a year and 4 months. He grew up a little bit. You know, puberty was relatively kind to him. You know, got taller and everything. And, you know, he's trying to balance life and stuff like that. And he misses Gwen. He misses Peter B. Parker from the first movie. He misses pretty much everybody he ever met because as a Spider-Man, they were the only ones he could relate to. So then Gwen shows up, like, hey, want to get out here? And so they go. And it turns out that, you know, there's one supervillain called the Spot who Miles fights in the first movie. Who Miles fights in the beginning of the movie, I'm sorry. And, okay. I'm sure this has probably been popping up on a lot of people's like algorithms, but the bagel effect, it turns out in Into the Spider-Verse, when Miles and Peter B. Parker were like leaving the Alchemax place with the information and everything, like they stole a bagel, Miles threw the bagel at one guy, that guy becomes the Spy. Which I thought is really clever and really funny. So basically the Spot gets this idea to become like all powerful by like, you know, actually the fight scenes with the Spot and Peter Parker and Miles are great. Like, again, the animation in this movie is phenomenal. So they go into this one Spider-Man's universe that takes place in Mumbai in India, where actually all the Spider-Verse people are really cool, but Miles shows up and he ruins a canon moment. See, apparently all Spider-Men have, you know, their canon moments. There are moments of highs and lows in their story. And Miles interfered with one, and now that could create an anomaly that could destroy that Spider-Man's universe. It's crazy. And believe it or not, it's about to happen to Miles too. Because his father is now becoming the captain of the police in his universe. So, basically there's one villain and one antagonist. The villain is obviously the Spot, but the antagonist is Miguel and subsequently all the rest of the Spider people who are trying to stop Miles from going back to his universe and saving his father's life. Because his father's death needs to happen in order for the story for Miles to continue. But Miles is like, you're just going to sit there and watch that happen. That's messed up. And it is. I mean, again, you see two very different, like, you can see both sides of the argument here. I mean, it's absolutely messed up that, you let tragedy befall other Spider people, for their story to play out and have the lives that they have. I mean, the death of Uncle Ben alone is already a tragic enough moment that led to Spider-Man where he is. And not just the Peter Parker that we know, but every other Peter, which actually, they have like brief cameos of like the original Spider-Man movie. You see Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Like, they technically have cameos in this movie. Technically, they're all clips from different universes, but it works. So, again, this is really clever, like, writing and foreshadowing there. It's great. So, and there's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, too. So, Miles finds a way. And here's the thing about Miles. He actually wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. See, everyone knows how Spider-Man got his powers. Unless, of course, you're Spider-Ham, in which case you were Spider that got bit by a radioactive pig and became Spider-Ham. But for the most part, every Spider person has been bitten by a radioactive spider, Spider-Man. The radioactive spider that bit Miles isn't from his universe. It's from Earth 42, which comes into play near the end of the movie because Miles finds a way to escape all the other spider people. He goes into the machine that will send him back to his universe. And by his universe, I mean the universe of the very spider that bit him. So basically, Miles Morales is the original anomaly, which is a pretty solid plot twist in my opinion. I gotta give Miller and Lord the credit they deserve. They are very talented writers and directors. Like, they straight up are like two of the greatest animation directors I've ever seen. I mean, I know they don't necessarily do animation, exclusively, but they're becoming kings in their own right. In a way, they become, like, seriously, Miller and Lord of, like, animation, they're starting to become like the Russo brothers of the MCU. That's how good I think they are. So Miles gets back to Earth 42, and it turns out not only is there no Spider-Man in that universe, but Miles himself has become the Prowler. So the movie essentially ends with Gwen getting a group of spider people to help Miles, trying to find him. And Miles is confronted with the version of himself who's become the Prowler. So the Spot is still out there. Miguel is looking to stop him. Basically, that was the movie. This is, for all intents and purposes, a two-parter. And we're going to be getting the second part in March of 2024. That's right, folks. We gotta wait. Actually, it's less than 10 months, so not quite a year. That's good. But, again, March 2024, we will get the final movie of this big damn trilogy known as Beyond the Spider-Verse. And straight up, this movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse, is probably going to shape up to be one of the greatest battles / possibly wars ever been put to either screen or paper. It's shaping up to be that way. Now, at some point, I really should do a video talking about like all the greatest battles I personally have ever seen them put to paper and or screen. Because that really does warrant its own video, to be sure. But Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be huge. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they're going to wrap up this big damn trilogy with a bang. And I personally hope they do. Question is, there's actually a lot of questions that need to be answered. The only question I really need to answer right now is, can I actually wait that long for that to happen? I mean, listen, the answer technically is yes. I mean, listen, I'm a One Piece fan. We're used to being patient, okay? I mean, listen, as a One Piece fan, I can already tell you that the finale of One Piece is going to shape up to be the greatest battle ever taken place in all of fiction. But Beyond the Spider-Verse, I wouldn't be surprised by this time next year, it'll already been over 2 months since I had seen Across the Spider-Verse. But rest assured, the ending of Across the Spider-Verse is going to be one of the greatest finales I've ever seen. But we have to wait. In the meantime, I've got 2 Spider-Verse movies I can watch. Well, technically one. Across the Spider-Verse is going to come out obviously later on like video and streaming and stuff. But 2 Spider-Verse movies. And you know what? Miller and Lord are 2 for 2. They are. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Across the Spider-Verse not only gets nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Picture, but I wouldn't be surprised if it wins. I think it might. I mean, there's a few animated movies coming soon. I mean, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, that's coming out. Elemental's going to be coming out as well. So it's going to have some competition, but right now, the best animated movie I've seen this whole year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I hope you like this video. If you did like this, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very homely this video for all the guys who watch the Jordan, and we'll be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. And remember, for these want to talk to us, we're here to lend you way back. Take care and make good choices. 6 or 7 all day, baby. Spider-Man! Woo! It's Spider-Man. Woo! Spider-Man. Spider-Man!